This is Beyond a Reasonable Doubt with your hosts, Mark Garrigus and Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on a church. Mandate. Get on. Welcome to the best 15 minutes or so in the universe. It's Beyond a Reasonable Doubt. I'm Adam Carolla. It's Mark Garrigus in his office in Manhattan, in L.A.
Manhattan. I'm with any luck. Are we going to do I'm trying to do in studio on Friday with you.
Oh, yeah. I'll be here.
Yeah. Okay, good. You know, I was, there's so many good legal stories, but you know what's really kind of charging me up right now today is there was a poll released this morning that has got Gavin Newsom within the margin of error, basically, on the recall. 50-47 right in there. Apparently that this is all a QAnon Trump plot is not really resonating with the populace, although it may be resonating with Republicans because they're getting charged up. And then I'm seeing or hearing the CDC is now revisiting mask mandates and their guidance. And somebody asked me this morning, well, are we going to get, all of a sudden we're going to get shut down again? And I said, I wish, and maybe Gary knows about this, I wish there was some place you could bet that there's going to be no closure order and there's going to be no action taken to shut down people between now and September 15th, because the recall election is September 14th. I mean, can you imagine as he's looking at the poll numbers today, what he's thinking or what his team is thinking right now?
Dr. Drew, I was just on the phone with Dr. Drew, and he said that Gavin Newsom was attacked by a homeless guy when he finished his news conference earlier today, which delighted me for some sad reason. But I have not seen the footage. Drew was explaining it all to me moments ago. I don't know. Maybe Gary has it
maybe
somewhere.
Gary can find it. There's some poetic karma, justice going on there. I mean, if you see what's happening in Venice, I'm getting updates almost like it seems like on an hourly basis down there with the whack-a-mole program that they're doing with the homelessness down there. And I thought that Newsom would get some traction. I really did with this just blame everything on the whack jobs and then buy people off, because basically if you're at a certain economic level, you don't have to pay rent retroactively or prospectively. And then I'm going to also, we're going to give tax rebates, even though they're not really tax rebates, and, distributing all of this money and everything else. And boy, it's sure, if you believe the polling that came out this morning, none of that has gotten any traction whatsoever.
It's always kind of funny to me when someone has been in charge for a long time and everything's turned to shit, and then there's some recall or performance review. They go, all right, now it's time to get started. And it's like, well, why didn't you get started a few years ago when you got the job? But all right, what other stories are you thinking about that are out there in the news?
It was interesting. There's one, Gary. It was one of the rioters who's being held, and they used the biometrics in order to unlock his phone. This has been an ongoing problem for law enforcement in unlocking Apple phones that are either encrypted or anything else. And I believe that in this particular case, they use the facial recognition feature, even though traditionally the argument that's been from the criminal defense standpoint has been to compel somebody to use their fingerprint or their eye or the facial recognition is in essence a compulsion against self-incrimination. And this, apparently that was one way they got around it. I will tell you that there have been long battles between Apple and law enforcement over this because they have not wanted to relinquish to law enforcement kind of the biometrics or the code that is able to unlock these devices.
Yeah, well, we'll look into that. We'll look into the Gavin Newsom.
Just to clear that one up a little bit, I don't think that one actually involves an Apple device, because it appears that they were having him use his face to unlock a computer, a laptop, and that is a Microsoft feature more than an Apple one.
All right. Well, thanks for the clarity.
Thank you. And then the last one that I think, before we go, which is interesting to me, that caught the attention, is Tom Barrack, who was a close ally of the president, who was arrested out of the Eastern District, made his court appearance yesterday, I believe, was finally released from the West Valley Detention Center, which is in Rancho Cucamonga, in order to travel here to the Eastern District in Brooklyn on $250 million bail, which seems to me to be
wow,
one of the highest bails I think I've ever heard of. And I'm trying to figure out the thinking behind, okay, if you've got 250, we'll let you out, even though we're in a situation where we've been trying to eliminate cash bail because of its disproportionate impact on people who don't have wealth.
Any thoughts about the recent DOJ decision to drop the case against Cuomo and the nursing home scandal?
You know, I think he's been trumpeting that. The governor's been trumpeting that. But if you read behind it, it looks like that was main justice, and that at this point, there still is an active investigation on the numbers and the fudging of the numbers. So I know that he's been saying that this is over and kind of taking a victory lap, if you will. But I'm pretty sure that there's still an active investigation going on the fudging of the numbers. And so I would not be taking the victory lap as of yet. In fact, oftentimes that will infuriate prosecutors, has been my experience, when you try to prematurely say that you're off the hook.
Any Jussie Smollett updates?
There's a hearing coming up in August, and she's going to rule on August 2nd, the judge. We will give you an update on that date as well, which will be, I don't believe I can say what the update will be, but on that date, I think we can discuss it, because I think it will be potentially public or made public, which is fascinating to me also. And we may do a breaking news on that, because it's an interesting legal issue that's being talked about. And then today, what is kind of an interesting...
Well, before we move off of Jussie Smollett, if that's in fact what we're doing, I just had this interesting thought. I'm coming up on my 15th anniversary of my beatdown of on the Michael Richards case with Gloria Allred, where she predicted we don't know if this is going to affect his career or not. It's been 15 years of, he's done Cars and Coffee with Seinfeld, but other than that, I don't think he showed up anywhere. But the point is we're coming up on the 15th year anniversary of the no-fly zone over Michael Richards and his career. But it dawned on me, Jussie Smollett may be the inverse of Michael Richards, but may end up being treated the same way by the industry or the business, if that makes sense at all. It's kind of interesting that you had you had the white guy up there dropping the N-bombs, and he's now a no-fly zone. Now you have a black guy who accused someone of dropping the N-bombs, and he may be a no-fly zone. Is his career taking a hit? Is the phone not ringing or people not returning calls?
His career has taken. I think he'd be the first to tell you it's been unbelievable what has happened to his career. However, I do have a feeling that if this case gets tried and if he's acquitted, that he is poised to make quite a comeback. His sister has had phenomenal success And he's obviously incredibly talented. And it'll be interesting to see whether a trial exposes what really happened here, what I think really happened here, or not. And we'll wait to see. I mean, the reason I wasn't trying to move off, I was going to actually say, I think the pivot on August 2nd, which is, I think, when there will be a decision made in this case, I think that if there is a trial date set relatively soon after that, that it may surprise some people. And that's why I'd love to talk about it. If I haven't looked on what day of the week August 2nd is, whether that would be a
Monday.
Monday. Is it a Monday? Perfect. So maybe we'll do a special Beyond on that Monday.
Well, tell me if this is a reasonable statement. If, in fact, the trial goes the way you think it's going to go, and he is, acquitted or not found guilty or whatever term applies, is there then...
You're right. It's a former federal prosecutor. You nailed it with acquitted.
Is there then, and you of course would then argue that his career has been impacted severely with, untold dollars not reaching his bank account. Is there a plan, or would there be plan B to circle back and try to recover some of that money?
I'm walking a fine line, and I would have to say just sit tight. But as always, you have very good instincts.
All right. Well, this is like someone saying there's a hypothetical. Mark Garagos is walking down the sidewalk and there's a $20 bill on the ground. Does he stop and pick it up? I'm like, I think he might stop.
I might just pick it up and hand it to Miss Debbie, the poor homeless woman with some mental illness challenges in front of the New York office. I had a very nice conversation with Miss Debbie the other day and tried to reason with her about her debilitating addiction to meth, and I didn't make much headway. But
well, you've arrived because you have a homeless congregation on both coasts.
Yes, I'm bi-coastal with my homeless team, but there's just something about the idea of basically living on the street when you've got the meth addiction and the mental health challenges and everything else. It just makes it really affects me in a bizarre way, I guess. I don't know.
Gary, anything on the Newsom?
I found an instance he was attacked back in June, but I haven't found one for today yet. I'm trying to search actively on Twitter, and because maybe the news stories haven't gone up yet, but I'm having trouble.
I wonder where Drew saw it. I should ask him, but he said earlier today.
We should have had Drew. We should have had Drew phone in on this or Zoom in on this.
Should have. I mean, it could have been yesterday afternoon. I don't know.
Yeah, no, we've both been
Barbara
looking.
Barbara Boxer was robbed yesterday in Oakland, and it was 1:15 in the afternoon. The former U.S. senator, who's 80 years old, somebody robbed her, strong arm robbery, I believe, of her cell phone. I just wonder if Drew was mixing his.
No, he definitely wasn't, because he brought her up as well in his, theme of this town's turned to shit. I think is basically, that's the general theme of most conversations I have with Drew, which is this town has turned to shit. All right. Well, we'll find a little info on those 2 stories or even 3 stories, and we'll follow it up when we come back with our full length Reasonable Doubt, which will be coming down the pike very soon. Mark, any last words? Any thoughts?
No, that's you've got me stirring, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
All right. So till next time, Adam Carolla for Mark Garagos saying mahalo.
Thanks for listening to Beyond a Reasonable Doubt. Stay tuned for more bonus episodes coming soon.